everyone, welcome to Supervised Weight Loss. Today we are talking about the pre-op meal plan as well as emotional eating. So, when it comes to that pre-op meal plan, we give it to you at your very first visit. But we really want you to start following it as soon as possible because you have to think about it in terms of how are you going to be eating after surgery. So by starting this pre-op meal plan, it will help to get you ready and used to the changes that you'll have to make after surgery. So don't forget, when it comes to protein, you want to have about a palm-sized portion per meal. More protein is fine, but you want to have at least that palm-sized portion of protein, and make sure that it's not breaded or fried. A lot of people say, well, I take my chicken nuggets or I take my breaded chicken, but I bake it in the oven, which is great. However, it's usually fried before it even goes in the package. So we do really want to stay away from any breaded meats. That's going to be something that not only decreases the calories in your food, but those high fat and fried foods can make you sick after surgery as well. When it comes to vegetables, you can do unlimited portions of vegetables, and vegetables are always a great thing to go for if you feel like you're just not quite satisfied or not quite full at the end of a meal. We do want to try and stay away from the big three starchy ones: corn, peas, and potatoes. And then fruit. There is some room for fruit, but again, we want to stick with those low sugar, high fiber fruits such as berries, apples, staying away from things like the grapes, the mango, the pineapple, just not choosing those quite as much, again, because they are a little higher in sugar. And believe it or not, a lot of people find that they dump from high sugar fruits after surgery. So it's not just a matter of, oh my gosh, we want you to stay away from these things. A lot of it has to do with the fact that it could make you sick after surgery. So why not get rid of it now, and that way it's not quite as much of a temptation. Dairy is always a good choice. However, you do want to choose the lower fat dairy. Again, those high fat foods can cause you to get sick after surgery. So skim or 1% milk, light yogurt versus low fat, because low fat yogurt doesn't mean anything about the sugar. So choosing the light yogurt is going to be your key right there. And then fluids. Drink, drink, drink. Water, water, water. Crystal Light is fine. Iced tea is fine. Hot tea is fine. But you do want to stay away from the sugary drinks. It's a common misconception that juice is good for you. Juice is kind of just sugar water. I would much rather you eat your fruit than drink your fruit. So if you think about it that way, it might kind of help hit home a little bit better. And then vitamins. With all of our surgeries, you do have to take vitamins forever. So let's get started with them now. There are some great options these days from the bariatric companies, and they're 1-a-day multivitamins. So that means all you have to take extra is your calcium and maybe some vitamin D. But if you choose to go to Walmart or Target or Sam's Club and get their generic multivitamin, that's perfectly fine. It's just not complete, so you'll have to add quite a bit extra after surgery. So we kind of get you started on these multivitamins that are 1-a-day, bariatric focused, because honestly, it makes it a lot easier for you. When it comes to some reminders, let's see here. We want to make sure that you're journaling every day. We know that studies prove keeping a food log helps people lose weight. It's so easy to forget those little bites here and there, those little snacks, that little extra that you added to your plate. But if you're writing it down, then you can really stay accountable and stay aware. It's amazing how stuff adds up when you start keeping track of it. You must stop smoking. You must be nicotine-free prior to surgery. We will cancel your surgery if you test positive for nicotine. Same thing with hemoglobin A1C. Another good reason to keep that pre-op diet working right now for you, because that will help decrease your blood sugars, and so that will help bring that hemoglobin A1C down, which is kind of an average of what your blood sugars have been for the past 60 to 90 days. If you haven't completed your pre-op labs, please do that as soon as possible. Don't wait till the very end, because if you have something that's off, say that hemoglobin A1C is really high, say you test positive for the urine nicotine, then we will have to delay things. So the sooner you get those labs done, the sooner we can fix anything that's off, which means your surgery is not delayed. Exercise, start small, but it's so important to get a little bit of physical activity in each day. So even, 10 minutes can make a big difference and get you started on a great path for exercise afterwards. So those are just a few reminders, things to think about when it comes to preparing yourself for surgery. And that's really what these classes are all about. They're preparing you for the changes you'll have to make afterwards. We're not trying to make you miserable. We're not doing these things just to, make it tough for you. We're doing it so that you can be successful. So we're trying to educate you and prepare you as best as we can for life after surgery. One of the things that comes up very often is emotional eating. And Marjorie, our licensed clinical social worker, has so much experience and is a great resource for that. But just to give you a little bit of a background, emotional eating is something that a lot of us do. And emotional eating can be from happiness, it can be from sadness, it can be from boredom. But it's usually something that we do not because of hunger, but more because of some other trigger. Some of the things that you can think about to figure out if you are physically hungry or if it's emotional hunger. Emotional hunger is sudden. It's, oh my gosh, I need this right now. Versus physical hunger, which comes on gradually. You start thinking, oh man, I need to eat pretty soon. And then a little bit later, like, oh wow, okay. Yeah, I really need a snack, or I really need a meal here soon. And you can feel your blood sugar dropping. You can feel a difference. Usually emotional eating is, I want this, or I want this type of food. Versus physical hunger, when you're hungry, when you're physically, truly hungry, you don't care what you're getting. You just know that you need something and you need it in your stomach. Your body has that need. Head hunger is usually up here. Physical hunger is down here. But that can be even harder to fight because it's hard to fight your own mind. But usually emotional hunger or head hunger is something that you're thinking about constantly, not your body saying, man, I really need fuel. Again, that emotional hunger is urgent. Physical hunger is more patient. And sometimes that physical hunger is going to be regardless of what's going on in your life, whereas that emotional hunger may be in response to something someone said, an event that has taken place. It's emotional hunger or emotional eating is something that might be something you don't even think about. You just find yourself every evening sitting down with the news or with Jeopardy, and you just start snacking. And before you know it, there goes half a bag of chips, and you didn't even realize what happened. Physical hunger is a lot more intentional. You are making that plan, I'm going to eat this, such as your meal. Emotional eating doesn't notice when you're full. You just keep going, and then a little bit too late, you think, oh wow, what did I just do? And emotional hunger also is tied with guilt. We never want you to feel guilty about eating or why you're eating or what you're eating. But when it comes to emotional eating or, that head hunger, there may be some guilt tied with it. So realizing why you're eating, making those conscious choices is so important. How do you know if you are emotionally eating? Do you eat when you're not physically hungry? Are you finding it hard to find a food that satisfies you? You just keep looking for something else? How long ago did you last eat? I tend to find that people aren't usually eating due to hunger at night, because think about it. When did you last eat dinner? Maybe it was 6 or 7 p.m. and now it's 8 or 9 and you just need something. That's probably head hunger or emotional hunger versus real true physical hunger. Are your cravings, and cravings is a key word there too, triggered by an emotion? Are you bored? Are you angry? Are you stressed out? Those can all trigger you to say, oh my gosh, I just need something. I need something right now. There is a hunger scale, which is kind of nice. And so it helps to figure out exactly what's going on, what's causing your hunger. And that scale goes from 1 to 10. And that's something that we'll show you here, not on this video, but we can talk about a little bit later on. In terms of managing emotional eating, figure out what's that underlying need. What exactly is going on here? And then what can you do? Can you plan out your snacks? Can you keep those foods that you have a hard time controlling yourself around out of the house? Can you talk to the other people in your house and say, please keep those things where I can't see them, keep them in your car, keep them at work. And just to recognize it, start keeping that food log but also keep an emotion log with it. So write down what you're eating, but also how you're feeling at that time, especially with the in-between foods that aren't necessarily your meals. A lot of people find that keeping their hands busy can be very helpful. If you've seen on Facebook, us dietitians, we just learned how to hand knit, and we were making blankets, and that certainly keeps your hands busy. Some people like to use those adult coloring books or other crafts. I like to fold my laundry in one room and then take each piece back and forth between the room it belongs in, and that keeps me moving. Maybe if you are watching TV, you're folding laundry while you're doing it. Or during commercials, you get up and start exercising. You know, take a walk around the house. So there are different ways that we can A, identify emotional eating, and B, take steps to help emotional eating. So while we get further from the beginning of the process and closer to surgery, those are things you want to think about, because surgery doesn't fix that. Surgery fixes the physical hunger, and you may never feel physical hunger again, but it doesn't help the emotional hunger. And you have to think about, what am I going to do if I'm put in a situation where I would normally eat emotionally or out of boredom? Have a plan in place. If you have a plan, then you know what you need to do. If you need help, talk to Marjorie, our social worker, or talk to any of us dietitians, and we'd be more than happy to help you out with coming up with solutions for you specifically. So I hope you learned a little bit today, and we will hopefully see you back in the classroom very soon. Have a good day.